adventure, Jeffrey Purtee.
Have you ever had an adventure go not quite the way you planned? The year was 2007. I, just picking up my brand new dream camper, a Lance camper that fit oh so perfectly on the back of my Ford pickup truck. It was 3 days before Thanksgiving. I was planning a week-long shakedown cruise of my beautiful new camper. But I had about 3 days to get used to it, which is what I did. For 3 days, I drove around, got the feeling of having a camper on the back, and figured by the end of that time, I'm pretty much an expert. Saturday morning, 8 a.m., the adventure begins. Off I head south on 395, just south of Reno. We are having in Washoe Valley something we refer to as a wind event. You can tell it's a wind event because when you get close to the highway, there is a giant flashing sign that says, "Wind alert! Trucks and high-profile vehicles exit here." Now, you fine folks will probably look at that sign and say, "I think I'll exit." Me, on the other hand, well, let me just remind you, I'm an expert. Off I go down 395, and it's going pretty smoothly so far, until it happens. One of those morning knock Washoe Zephyrs hits me broadside, jumps me 3 feet over into the adjoining lane. I have a vivid memory of glancing down and seeing a little girl in the backseat of the car going, matched by my equally terrified 395 in that section is about 11 miles long, 11 of the longest miles of my life. As I fight all the way across it, I'm simply remembering, Jeffrey, you are basically driving about an 11-foot high flying billboard. And every breeze grabs me back and forth. When you embark on your RV adventure, I encourage you, when you see wind warning signs, they apply to you. When I bought my RV, I asked the salesman, how does this affect my gas mileage in my pickup truck? Now, a big Ford V8 is not actually a gas miser. I got about 14 miles per gallon on the highway, and I wanted to know. And so he said, well, Jeffrey, and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that. Oh, Jeffrey. Now, being a guy, I didn't want to admit I'm stupid. So I assumed he told me whatever I needed to know. My first gas stop on that trip was Mammoth. I checked my gas mileage, 12.1. I'm going, not bad. Of course, it was all downhill. My next stop was Lone Pine. The gas mileage was 9.95. Then it happened. If you've ever traveled 395 along Lone Pine, you often get these giant headwinds that sweep up the bottom of the Sierras. So here I am, 65 miles an hour, against a 30 or 40 mile headwind. By the time I get to my next gas stop, I'm having gas mileage of 7.37 miles per gallon. By the time I get to Phoenix, Arizona, I'm averaging 3 stops of 7.29 miles per gallon. Folks, I figure at this rate, rather than saving money on a hotel room, I can probably buy a motel in every city that I stop. When you embark on your RV adventure, I encourage you, when the salesman tells you about your reduced gas mileage, take what he tells you, cut it by half, reduce it by 10%, and then pray you get something close. There was a point during that trip where I was beginning to wonder if I was going to have to drag a siphon from the gas tanks to try to make it to the next gas stop. When you go and buy a new RV, they give you something called a run-through. They take you through some of the features of the RV, show you how everything works, and one of the things they explain to you is a holding tank. They simply say, here you go, you take this tank, you hook it to the bottom of the holding tank, you put it in the hose, you go back over here, you turn on the switch, it empties, boom, no problem. They explain it to you very quickly. Going, so you do, yeah, nothing to it. Right here, boom, no problem. I figure, how difficult can this be? So, just outside of Phoenix, hook it up, get there, about to turn the switch. Now, folks, given what has happened on this trip so far, wouldn't you think I might have had a little warning bell going off in my head? Maybe Professor Harold Hill from The Music Man would be coming down and speaking to me. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Yes, you got trouble right here in Caper City. With a capital C, and that rhymes with me, and that stands for trouble. Trouble ahead! But unfortunately, the ghost of Professor Hill was nowhere to be found. I flip the switch, it pops out of the bottom there, soaks my shoes, I flip the switch, and I'm standing there. You have got to be kidding me. Zach, I'm really beginning to hate camping now. I rehook up everything, check it all again, go back in ever so carefully, and turn the switch, boom! This one pops up, hits the tire, splashes me to the waist. I turn the thing off. Folks, I am 55 years old. I've never had a bathroom accident like this in my life. And I have to tell you, at that point, I am really having a hard time understanding the gift of travel. So my final tip to you, when you embark on your RV adventure, is do what I did. Buy an RV